What's up everyone? Welcome to another one of my build videos, this time with another Baldur's Gate 3 build. Today, I'll be showcasing a Moon Druid build, with a very unique race choice that I haven't seen a lot of people take. Additionally, for this build, I decided not to use Hag's Hair or Mirror of Loss, but they definitely can be used to enhance the build further. I did all the testing for this build on Tactician difficulty, while doing all possible main story and side quests. Though many things are min-maxed in this build, there are still some flavor choices that I chose, but I will do my best to provide you with options for either playstyle. If you find yourself enjoying this build at any time, please consider liking and subscribing, as currently 92% of my viewers aren't subscribed, and both likes and subscribes help my channel get seen by more people and helps me reach my current goal of 500 subscribers and 3,000 watch hours. Now it's time to get into character creation. For our race, there's many good options. This time I'll give 3 to allow more flexibility, although there are definitely more than 3 that synergize. The first very popular race choice is Wood or Wood Half-Elf for bonus movement speed, stealth, and perception proficiency. We also get Dark Vision, Fey Ancestry, and Elven Weapon Training. Lightfoot Halfling is another great option, letting us re-roll anytime we roll a 1 on an attack roll, ability check, or saving throw. We also gain advantage on stealth checks and fear saving throws. The only negative is we get our movement speed reduced, but this can be easily made up for with Longstrider and Wild Shapes. I'm going to go with Dwegar Dwarf for this build, as in my opinion, it's super underrated and I haven't seen many others on YouTube, making it very unique. This gives superior dark vision, advantage on saving throws against poison, illusions, charmed, paralyzed, and resistance against poison. Additionally, we gain Dwarven Weapon Training, and at level 3, we gain Enlarge, which we can now use on ourselves without concentration before Wild Shaping, this being the main reason I chose this race. For our class, make sure to choose Druid, which currently at level 1 only grants us 2 cantrips and the ability to prepare 4 level 1 spells. For our cantrips, choose Guidance for a plus 1d4 bonus to ability checks, especially useful on higher difficulties. As for our second cantrip, I would recommend Thorn Whip if you like having more utility, allowing us to pull creatures towards us. If you prefer pure early game damage, I would recommend Shillelagh to make our staff or club magical. It now deals 4 to 11 bludgeoning damage and uses our spellcasting ability for attack rolls. For our background, it doesn't matter too much. I would choose whatever you need more in your party. I chose Folk Hero for animal handling and survival, as they feel very thematic for a druid. For our stat spread, I like to go 8 strength, 16 dexterity, 15 constitution, which will get to 16 with a feat, 8 intelligence, 16 wisdom, which will get to 20 with feats, even without Hag's Hair or the Mirror of Loss, and 10 charisma. Charisma and intelligence can be swapped if you'd rather have better saving throws than dialogue checks. As for spells, I would recommend taking Longstrider to make up for the movement speed we lose from our race, giving us an increased 3 meter or a 10 feet movement speed buff. Healing Word is great to have on at least one party member, especially early game, allowing us to heal 1d4 plus our spellcasting modifier hit points to a target within 18 meters or 60 feet as a bonus action. Ice Knife is also a good option to deal 1d10 piercing damage, which explodes and deals 2d6 cold damage to anyone nearby, and best of all, leaves an icy surface, which can knock enemies prone and halves their movement speed when traveling over it. Even if you miss, or the enemy passes a dexterity save, Ice Knife still explodes, and it can be casted even when silenced. For our last spell, I would either recommend Enhanced Sleep, as it synergizes quite well in combat and is even useful out of combat, making our jump distance tripled for 10 turns. Fog Cloud is also an option, making a cloud that blinds and heavily obscures creatures within it, which can be extremely useful in certain situations. Now it's time to go over our levels 2 through 12. At level 2, for our subclass, make sure to choose Circle of the Moon. This gives us Combat Wild Shape, allowing us to transform as a bonus action twice per short rest. Additionally, we gain Lunar Mend, letting us expend spell slots to regain hit points while in Wild Shape. Finally, we gain the ability to Wild Shape into a Badger, Spider, Wolf, Cat, and Bear. For a spell, I would recommend Entangle to create a vine surface, slowing down creatures and possibly entangling them. This makes them unable to move, and we gain advantage on attack rolls against them, while their attack rolls and dexterity saving throws have disadvantage unless they pass a strength save. At level 3, we now gain Enlarge. Make sure to cast this on ourselves before using Wild Shape for it to take effect. We gain advantage on ability checks and saving throws using strength, and weapon attacks deal an additional 1d4 damage. For a spell, Flaming Sphere. This summons a flaming sphere that damages nearby enemies and objects. This can be moved emitting a bright light, and even if the targets make a dexterity saving throw, they still take half damage. Spike growth is an option as well, to shape a piece of the ground into spikes. Movement is halved, and any creature walking on the spikes takes 2d4 piercing damage for every 1.5 meters it moves. Hold Person can be quite useful as well, to hold a humanoid enemy still. They can't move, act, or react unless they pass a wisdom save, and attacks from within 3 meters are always critical hits. At level 4, we gain the Deep Wrath and Dire Raven wild shapes. For our cantrip, I prefer Resistance, giving the target a plus 1d4 bonus to saving throws. As for our spells, besides the ones I've already mentioned, Pass Without a Trace can be a great option for when you want to stealth. This gives us and all nearby allies a plus 10 bonus to stealth checks until the next long rest. For our feat, take Tavern Brawler, letting us add our strength modifier twice to damage and attack rolls, which works in wild shape. Finally, make sure to increase Constitution here to get to 16. At level 5, we gain Wild Strike, allowing us to make an additional attack after making an unarmed strike while in wild shape. Additionally, we gain Invisibility from our race choice, allowing us to become invisible until we attack, cast another spell, take an action, or take damage. Finally, for level 3 spells, I would recommend taking Plant Growth here to make weeds burst from the ground. Creatures moving through the weeds have their movement speed quartered. This is very useful as it's not a concentration spell. At level 6, we gain the Panther and Owlbear wild shapes as well as Primal Strike. While in beast form, our attacks count as magical for the purpose of overcoming resistance and immunity to non-magical damage. As for other level 3 spells, I recommend Daylight, allowing us to enchant an item to shine like the sun, or summon a sphere of sunlight that dispels all darkness around it until the next long rest. Call Lightning is also a great option when paired with the Wet effect. Lightning strikes all targets within range, dealing 3d10 lightning damage, and for 10 turns we can call down lightning again without expending a spell slot. At level 7, the only thing we gain is access to level 4 spells. Make sure to at least prepare Conjure Woodland Being to conjure a Dryad to fight alongside us. She can use Nature's Step, Entangle, and can summon a Woodwode. This can be very useful to have Entangle cast from the backline by the Dryad, and the Woodwode can be used in the front line. At level 8, we gain the Saber-Tooth Tiger wild shape. As for more level 4 spells, Conjure Minor Elemental is a decent option, though I would rather use Conjure Woodland Being. I would recommend taking Freedom of Movement here to snap any ally out of any stun until the next long rest. Additionally, difficult terrain can't slow them down, and they can't be magically paralyzed or restrained. If they're restrained by non-magical means, they can spend 1.5 meters of movement to free themselves. Finally, for our feat, choose Ability Improvement here, and put both points in Wisdom, bringing it to 18. At level 9, the only thing we gain is access to level 5 spells. Conjure Elemental is a good option until we can upcast a Myrmidon. Wall of Stone is a great defensive option, allowing us to raise a wall of non-magical solid stone. I also really like Insect Plague, allowing us to summon locusts that attack everyone within range, making the area difficult terrain, and imposing disadvantage on perception checks unless they pass a Constitution save. At level 10, we gain the Dilophosaurus and the Earth, Air, Fire, and Water Myrmidon wild shapes. Additionally, we gain improved Wild Strike, giving us 2 additional attacks after making an unarmed strike while in wild shape. For our spells, add any of the spells I mentioned at level 9 that you didn't take. At level 11 for this build, instead of multi-classing like my last build, I wanted to stick to a pure Moon Druid build. If you want to min-max, I would recommend taking White Dragon Sorcerer here and War Cleric at level 12. The only thing we gain at this level is access to level 6 spells. I would recommend upcasting Conjure Elemental to conjure Myrmidon here. Hero's Feast is a great party buff, making us and everyone around us unable to be poisoned, diseased, or frightened. Our HP increases, and we make wisdom saves with advantage until the next long rest. At level 12, for additional level 6 spells, Wall of Thorns is a good option to create a wall of thorns surrounded by entangling vines. Creatures can move through the wall, but they take 78 piercing damage per turn, and their movement speed is quartered unless they pass a dexterity save. Sunbeam is a decent option as well, creating a beam of brilliant light that sears and blinds all creatures within its path for 68 radiant damage unless they pass a Constitution save. Until the spell ends, we can recast Sunbeam without expending a spell slot. Finally, for our feat, I would recommend taking Ability Improvement once more to get our Wisdom up to 20. I'm now going to go over the few gear options that work with Druid, as well as where to find each piece, which was requested in my last video. For our helmet, use Shapeshifter Hat, giving us Nature +1, as well as Nature's Embrace, which increases our Wild Shape charge by 1. This additional charge is restored after the next long rest. This can be bought or stolen from Helsik in the Devil's Fee at her desk on the ground floor once her special stock is unlocked. For a cloak, I chose Vivacious Cloak to grant us Arcane Vivaciousness, which grants 8 temporary hit points after casting a spell while in melee. This can be looted from a locked traveler's chest in the southeast corner of the Grand Mausoleum. For our armor, use Armor of Moonbasking to grant us Lunar Bestial Vitality. We gain 22 temporary hit points after casting Wild Shape. While these temporary hit points are active, reduce all incoming damage by 1. We also gain Lunar Bestial Fortitude, giving us a +2 bonus to armor class, as well as advantage on saving throws against spells. This effect persists while using our Wild Shape ability. These can be bought from the Voiceless Penitent Bereki in the Lower City Ruins, next to the Undercity Ruins Ancient Rune Circle. For our gloves, use Martial Exertion Gloves. These allow us to push past our physical limits, taking 66 piercing damage to gain an additional attack and double our movement speed this turn once per short rest. These can be bought or stolen from Bumpnagel in the Angle Iron Cellar, which is accessible via a cave or a trapdoor in Rivington General. For our boots, use Boots of Striding to give us Athletics +1 and Focus Stride. When we cast a spell that requires concentration, we gain momentum for 1 turn. Additionally, while concentrating, we can't be knocked prone or be moved against our will. These are dropped by Minthara or equipped by her when recruited. For our amulet, use Corvid Token to give us Boon of the Raven Queen. While wearing this amulet, our jump and flying speed increases by 1.5 meters and we gain the Feather Fall condition. This effect persists while we are polymorphed or wild-shaped. This can be bought or stolen from Mattis in Rivington near the Requisition Barn if he survived to Act 3. For our rings early game, use Shapeshifter's Boon Ring to give us a +1d4 bonus to all checks while shapeshifting or disguising ourselves. This can be obtained at multiple points throughout the game from the Strange Ox. Later, True Love's Caress and True Love's Embrace are very good options, giving us a +1 to AC, saving throws, and resistance to everything. The downside is that our damage is shared with the caster, the wearer of True Love's Embrace. If we give True Love's Embrace to someone like Karlach or any Wildheart Barbarian and Bear Rage, we get resistance to all of the shared damage. True Love's Caress can be obtained from Rythwin Graveyard on a skeleton leaning up against a large tree on the road between the House of Healing and Mason's Guild. True Love's Embrace can be found in the House of Healing on a skeleton laying on a mattress on the ground. For our weapons, Gaunter Mail. Though this isn't a druid-specific item, it gives us the very powerful Celestial Haste. This gives us a +2 to AC and advantage on dexterity saving throws. Additionally, our movement speed is doubled, we gain an additional action, and we don't suffer the lethargic condition after the spell ends. This can be found in the Steelwatch Foundry in the Control Center, looted from the Steelwatcher Titan. If you chose Shillelagh as a cantrip, make sure to use any staff that has blaster spells we normally wouldn't be able to cast. That wraps up my Moon Druid build. Thanks to everyone who made it this far. If you enjoyed the video at any time, please like and subscribe as it helps me a ton. Any build requests for Baldur's Gate 3, Pathfinder, or any other games would be great to see in the comments so I know what wants to be seen. As always, I would appreciate any constructive, positive, or negative feedback down in the comments. Anyway, thanks again for watching, I hope to see you in future videos, and have a great day.